After a season, was today a day where you showed fight, resilience, character to get the 3 points?
I think so. I think when the quality wasn't there, we went in our best day with the ball. Defensively, we went in our best, so that was our fight. We got a goal in the first half with a corner, and from there we just fought until the end. And credit to the boys that in the end we kept a clean sheet. We know we could have lost the game, but football is like this, and in days like these, that's when the 3 points count.
Let's bring in the goal scorer, Ricardo. We know that you're a brilliant team at set pieces, and it looked like a new routine, so a lot of hard work in pre-season, working on your corners.
Yeah, like always, we're working a lot on set pieces, and I think we showed it today. Every season, I think we have to improve if possible, and yeah, we have to keep going like that.
How pleased were you even to get the start today? Because you had great moments last season, but it was a bit stop-start. And an example of the depth you've got in this Arsenal squad is those full-back positions where you've got such strong competition.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to compete at a higher level, we have to be good in every position. And of course, my teammates are ready to play. So it's not easy to play every game, but of course, this concurrence that we have inside is going to help us and it's going to bring up the level. So we just have to keep going, and hopefully I'm going to play a lot. But if not, there is another teammate who's going to play with me, and it's going to be even better maybe.
David, I feel like you always play well here. You certainly did last season. Pick of the saves today, maybe that one from Cunha first half?
The one from Cunha, I think. It was a tough one. I don't know how I saved it, to be honest. It was very, very close to my feet. And but no, delighted to help the team to get the 3 points, and that's the main thing.
Okay, well done. You're the player of the match.
Thank you.
Ricardo, do the honours for us.
Brother.
Thank you, guys.
Now, you've left Onana out. We've seen Onana make so many mistakes. The manager already this game has got a goalkeeping problem after one game, because people are seeing that now. The defence are knowing that he hasn't dealt with it. The keeper himself has got to do what I call re-editing in his mind in some sort of way, that the next game that he's gonna learn from that and be better. But you've got a weakness already. As well as United, well, as well as I think they deserved at least a draw out the game, and there were some really good things, but they've got a really major problem already after one match.
Yeah, well, Arsenal have done their homework clearly, because he had an issue in the League Cup tie at Tottenham last season in a very similar situation, and they've said let's test him early on.
I think if Onana was in goal, they'd do the same, because you know the delivery from Arsenal is very good. There's a lot of bodies around. I even think that William Saliba, where I remember there was a time last season, the season before, Ben White would be really amongst the goalkeeper to the point where you're thinking, Ben, get away from him a bit. But I think that William Saliba is really passive. And the goalkeeper, I think that to the point where the goalkeeper can move him, like you're saying, Mike, so as he could get to the ball. So I just think that the ball's a great ball in. I think the goalkeeper's got himself in all sorts of problems. And for a start, he gets himself in a position where he can't even punch it with his strong hand. But it is a good ball in. It was a great ball in.
Yeah. And then did we see David Raya in a similar situation almost show Bayern exactly what he should be doing?
Well, again, you can look at the situation. You know, you can see they're going to put the ball into an area where, look, there's players around him, but watch what he does. He gets himself into a situation. Watch him now. Watch, bang, where he's on his, like you're saying, Mike, he's on his toe. Watch him there. Look, bang, on his toes, off his feet, seeing the ball, punching it away with his strong hand.
Yeah, I think when you go to the early shot there and you see him bouncing, your body language for me tells me what's going on in your head. You know, if you're dead and your body's dead and you're a bit flat and you're almost slightly switched off. He was bouncing, he was almost looking forward. Like we said at the start a little bit about embracing the challenge. Yeah. You've got to centre off, you're defending your box, goalkeeper, you've got to think, this is me, I'm having a bit of this is me. And embrace that, and don't be a little bit waiting to see what's going to happen. You've got to go make it happen. I just thought that, but the body language between the two almost took on the challenge, and one clears it, one doesn't, and that, in the end, that's the game that we're sat here talking about.
Yeah, and that's the fine margin sometimes in these games.
Oh, very much so, and that's why Arsenal have been brilliant from set plays last season and this start off this season. The difference is when you score from set plays, however it's from corners, when they come from the back post, or this time bodies in the 6-yard box, you get a belief about yourself. You go into that box believing you're going to score. All them centre-backs going up, I'm going to be the one scoring. The strikers, obviously, they've worked at different situations, different scenarios, using the body, putting the goalie under pressure. There's a little run, the two little runs that we didn't talk about on the edge of the box. There's one there's a little plan going there where he could have pulled it back, and I think Ødegaard was ready to shoot. So that's another little plan that they got. But they have this belief. They say, now we're going to score again. And at the end of the day, that has been the difference between the 3 points. Because United, you can't tell me United weren't a better team on the day. They probably created a little bit more than Arsenal did, but that was the vital part of the game. And now that goalkeeper really has got to really do some work on himself, as well as the coaches and the goalkeeping coach, because that becomes a big, big problem, a massive wall that can build up if he doesn't do a lot of work mentally on that.
Yeah, well, how important is that? They spent over 200 million at one end of the pitch to still have this issue that you're all talking about at the other.
It's fine margins for a goalkeeper in that respect, you know. And but like Glenn said, that it quickly spreads both ways. You know, that commanding presence, belief. Yeah, this is us. We're strong. To the other way of a little bit of unsure. Who's going to come? Shall I head it? Is he keep coming? Are we a little bit? Don't give a corner away. Oh, it's a long throw. All of a sudden, it can spiral both ways. You know, it's definitely something that has caused them an issue today. It's caused them an issue over a period of time now, and you need that foundation and that backbone to then spread through the back four or the back five.
Which you experienced with Edwin van der Sar, didn't you, back in the day in that team? And
that composure and that belief that the goalkeeper gives you is, as I said, it spreads, and it spreads quickly, and it can go in both directions pretty quickly. You obviously want the positive nature, and to be fair to Arsenal, they got that today.
Well, Arteta, they got the job done after that early goal here at Old Trafford. Roy Keane, how significant do you think that victory is?
It's an important start for him, with the other teams doing so well over the weekend. Wasn't great the second half. I thought you lacked quality, particularly from Arsenal's point of view. But you take a win on the first day of the season, and you move on. Obviously, a home game next week to Leeds. They'll fancy themselves in that match. But overall, I think the game was poor second half.
The 3 points, you can't ask for much more than that, especially when your players are not fit at this moment in time.
And probably predictable, the source of the goal, because we know Arsenal are so good from set pieces, and here they were, their first corner of this new season, and you saw Manchester United in disarray trying to deal with it.
Yeah, again, good delivery. We know Arsenal are big and strong, and they vary it. And but if you stop it where it goes in, where the ball ends up, the goalkeeper, that's your keeper's job. So for all the blocking and the advantage, and the goalkeeper, that's his area. He has to be. I always say, he has to come with violence. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to be almost saying to players, come in here, come here. I'm happy to deal with it. And you've got to be aggressive. But look, he's not strong enough.
You agree, Daniel? He can do more.
Look at him. He's appealing to the referee. Don't be appealing to the referee. So, lads, look, he's on his heels. If a player comes into your area, you go, yeah, you come in, you invite him, because I'm going to hopefully punch the ball, and I'll take you with it. Far too easy. It's like, you wouldn't see it's like schoolboy stuff.
We'd seen it before from haven't we, last season against Spurs in the Carabao Cup. So the warning was there.
And that's part of the goalkeeper's job. We talk about shot stopping, but that's about taking command of your area, and also letting your own defenders know, going, lads, if it does come into this area where it came into, first of all, I've got it. Listen, if something else happens to that, we react to it. But if that comes into me, I am favoured for it. I am going to be favoured. He's, 6'2", 6'3", and he ends up on his heels, and you're getting bullied. Why don't you bully the other lads? Why don't you come and punch it and go, if you come near me, hey, listen, I'll take your head off as well, it's no problem. But they're all a bit, referee, no, don't look at the referee. Take control of it. It's like a weakness to it, physically and mentally. And especially on an in-swinger, you must know that when it's an in-swinger, it'll always be coming towards me. Out-swinger is slightly different. You think, well, I want to be careful. I don't want to be drawn out to it and getting dragged into bodies. But when it's coming in on top of you, you go, hey, happy days.
By contrast, did we see...
Coming you back pitch side here at a rather dusty Old Trafford. Tim Howard, Rebecca Lowe, Robbie Mustoe. We will talk about Manchester United, because I want to talk, Robbie Mustoe, about the reception that those fans just gave their team. Yeah. But let's start with Arsenal, 3 points. What did you make of them?
I made it that it was a tremendous defensive performance, really. Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori particularly, big, strong defenders. Lee and Graham talked about it, why maybe they were selected for this game, particularly Calafiori, but I thought it was a time where they stretched a lot, and they're a durable team, Arsenal. Not the silk that fans might want to see. There's other days for that. This was a difficult match at Old Trafford. United came with a lot of energy and a lot of attacking thrust, and they were stretched a lot, Arsenal, but were strong enough to keep a clean sheet.
They ground it out. Arteta will take that, won't he?
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of early season last year, where everyone said, oh, they're just a set-piece team. And they were like, well, they were winning games with set pieces. And I think Arsenal have a couple of different ways to win, and that sets them apart from some of the other teams in this league. So, yes, it wasn't beautiful and pretty and silky, as Musty said, but they will get there. And to be quite honest, they celebrate 1-0s. They celebrate getting 3 points no matter what it is. So that's a good match for them.
Real quick, Tim, do Manchester United need a new goalkeeper?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely, I think so.
Okay, Andre Onana not in the squad today. Manchester United.
Yeah.
Will he be pleased with a lot of that?
Be pleased. He'll take a lot from the work that he's done, the progress we can see from pre-season. In a strange way, Bex, the top end of the pitch where they spent $300 million was the area that slightly let them down. Didn't quite have the shortness, didn't quite have that touch around the last part of the pitch. And so they didn't get the win. We just took, as the boys were talking about Arsenal, I just get the sense today, Bex, that Arsenal weren't going to concede a goal, you know. With those centre-backs, with the way they were playing, there's something there that's just slightly bit different. And maybe, you know, maybe that's something Manchester United have to get back to. But 3 years of coming second, they've shown that they can dig one out when they need to, and that's a good sign for the start of the season.
The Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta, will be on his way to talk to us live.
Work really hard for that advantage you have at half-time. How have they challenged you, and how much resilience have you had to show?
Yeah, obviously they have quality. They have really good players up front. I think we let them play a bit too easy through us at times. But yeah, there's a lot of space also when we regain the ball and we get to run, we get to counter a few times. It just needs to be a bit more accurate there, and then we have some good chances to score more.
Yeah, and is the big opportunity for you, that space on the counter, and secondly, is part of your job just to calm things down when it gets a bit hectic?
Yeah, it's been a bit too hectic at times. I think so much space is too open. We need to control it a bit better. Without the ball, need to be a bit more compact, and then, yeah, when we get the ball, pick the right moments and be a bit more accurate when we counter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, it has been open. We'll come to that in a moment. But, Michael, we were discussing not only the fast start for United, but also the goalkeeping situation before the game. And then 13 minutes in, how disappointed will it be to concede in this manner?
Oh, man, you put everything into the build-up to the start of the season, the pre-season, the structure, the tactics, how you want to start a game, how you want to put yourself in a good position, and it's a nothing goal, really, you know. They haven't had to do an awful lot. I mean, Arsenal are good at what they do. They try and create space. They have a lot of movement. They create little pockets of space, and they put pressure on the goalkeeper. But that's right in the goalkeeper's zone. You know, he's almost been just outstrengthed in the end. It's just soft. It's soft and it's weak, and it's kind of it's just very fragile. You know, to concede a goal like that in a game like that at the stage of the season we're at, it's just a bit of a deflator, you would think. But actually, United responded pretty well to it. But nevertheless, it's an awful start.
It was a gift for Arsenal there, right?
It was a gift in a game where I think we started pretty shaky, you know, from the goalkeeper all the way through. But again, you're looking at that. The goalkeeper's got to come familiar with his stronger hand, his right hand. He's got to be stronger. He can't let him get in front of him, and he's got to punch it with his right hand. What he's trying to do with his left hand there, but it's a great ball in on him. But I think a more dominant keeper comes and gets that, or punches that, or does something. He's got himself in a position where he can't really do anything. And again, like Michael said, that is a very soft goal, what I was pleased to see, to be honest.
But as Michael said, they responded well, United.
All out here from Burmo, down the left and the right, they've broken in. But it's been that, having that desire, there's been more desire for the Arsenal players to get back into the 18-yard box to defend. When United have been in sort of good positions, and we'll see a couple more here, you know, Arsenal have been a bit loose. This is a hell of a chance here. He goes through Cunha, gets a little bit lucky there. He's 1v1. You just felt he was just run out of steam a little bit. But that gives you optimism. That gives you a little bit of belief that you can get in behind this Arsenal defence. They've looked a bit sloppy defensively, strangely enough. But, you know, it's whether they've got the little bit of security, a little bit of magic, which you see Cunha here. It's a good save in the end, isn't it? It's a good hand from Rao.
I think a little bit tactically for United was the pros and cons. You know, they've got Cunha a little bit deeper, Mount a little bit deeper, and they've had some success in terms of playing through, picking up second balls and breaking. But what that does is then takes your strikers a little bit deeper. So by playing a bit deeper, and then Cunha's been getting some success linking, and then Wemmo's been the one that's been stretching it a little bit, Bruno once or twice. But then to get that extra 10, 15 yards into the box, we've seen a few times they've got there without the numbers in there. And it's a difficult one because the success of having the extra play in the middle of the pitch has given them a chance to get up the pitch. But it's that little bit on the end of it that
in that half-time chat there, he was saying that even when we did break and we did get it's not been good enough. And I think that if you are going to catch United, because United do look dangerous, they look like they can cause a problem. But if you're going to break on them, then when you do break, you have to take more time with the final pass.
So Arsenal 5 seasons without a trophy, 10 points behind Liverpool, the champions last season. We had numerous shows here, Wrighty. You and I were talking about the lack of goals and the centre forwards. They've got one, Victor Gyökeres. Is it as simple as saying, could that be the missing ingredients?
No, it's not that simple. I think that he'll obviously come in and he'll help with that if he does hit the ground running. But you can't then ignore Zubimendi and what he brings to the team, and even with Nona Madueke, what he brings to the team with the width he'll give us, with the fact that Gyökeres will not come deep and try to get involved in the game too much. If it's Havertz, he might do that, but then you've got someone like Zubimendi who can get through the lines and play balls through there. He can progress the ball through. We can get the ball to Saka, who hopefully won't have to do so much running backwards this way, because I think the press will be quite intense from Arsenal now. And I think that those three players bring something that we've struggled with. We've not lost against the top 6 in 2 years. And in those seasons, we've had the best defensive record. So that says we need to score goals and we need to beat those teams with the mid-block and the low block. And I think those three players do bring something to us to help break that down.
Could you put yourself in Gyökeres' boots for a moment? We were just talking about earlier about Manchester United embracing it. He's taken Thierry Henry's number straight away.
Right, yeah.
He scored 54 goals in 52 games for Sporting last season. But all the talk about Arsenal needing a centre-forward, is that a real pressure situation for him to come into in this team?
Yeah, it is. But like when you listen to him and you hear his story and the journey he's been on to get to where he is, especially, I think the Mark Robbins interview I heard, Mark Robbins saying about every day in training.
This is at Coventry?
Yeah, when he was at Coventry, he looked like he's in a hurry. And, you know, what was good about him as well is when it was Arsenal, he just wants to come to Arsenal. He wants to go to that next level. And when you watch his journey, like I say, everywhere he went to the next place and the next place, he got better and better. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks over him because he's coming from the Portuguese league, but he has scored a lot of goals there. But then he looks to me like we're talking about embracing it, the challenge. He looks like somebody's ready to embrace it. I think the movement, what we'll get from him, the fact that he does love to finish first time if we can get the ball into him. So if Madueke gets down there, gets the ball in, or if it's played through to him, he's somebody that we have needed for a long time, and it's taken a while, to be honest, too long for me, and especially as we finished second 3 times on the spin. We've needed those goals. We finished 17 behind Liverpool in goals last season, 7 the season before against City, so those goals are important, so hopefully he'll bring those.
Yeah, you've been a manager since we last saw you for a period of time, and when you've got a striker who hopefully guarantees goals, how does that differ with the mindset? Because Arsenal were second last year. They didn't have a player in double figures and still finished second.
Yeah, when I was at Middlesbrough, we played Coventry in the playoff semi-final, and he played for them then, and you could see he was a threat. He was a huge threat. And the interesting one for me is he was really good over big spaces and quite individual and very dangerous. You know, in the biggest respect of being a bully, he was that type, aggressive and over big spaces. We're talking about breaking down a block and being in around the box. Of space is going to be a lot smaller than he's used to. But having that focal point and having that threat and having that presence in the box for Arsenal, I think it'll give everyone else. I know as a midfielder, knowing that you've got that gives you all of a sudden gives you a bit of confidence to know, and that belief that we've got goals in the team and we've got someone in that area where we can feed, and there's belief that goals will come.
Especially as well, especially when you know your defence, like our defensive record is so good. If we can turn, like 11 draws last season, if we could turn 8 of them into wins, or even if 6 of those into wins, we've got a much better chance. And that's what, as much as we're saying it's a lot of pressure because there's so much time that we've waited for this striker to come, and you're just hoping that him and Kai, because remember Kai's still there, they can get the job done this season, hopefully.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously the jury's still out. It's going to be out for a little while. You can't judge him on the first game of the season. For me, though, it's a bit alarming if we're talking about you need space. He needs, he's good with time and space. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that playing for Arsenal. You're going to, as Wright says, there's going to be some games that are going to be toe for toe, opened up, but majority of the games have got to break them down. Now, if he needs time and space at the top end of the pitch, Wright knows more than anyone that you've got to take that in one touch rather than maybe 2 touches. If he's wanting time and space and wants to manipulate the ball and make his own chances, which I think he's that type of player. On the positive side, he's got the ammo behind him. He's got some real creative players there for Arsenal that can open things up. Is he astute enough to make those sharp little darting runs in a tight, confined space? Anyone in football can play if you're given space and time on the ball. We could all still be playing now if you're given that. But as you get older or as you get higher up and the quicker, from Division 2 to Premier League, it's the blink of an eye. Can you play in that tight positions? Can you play quicker? Can you do things in a split second? And that's the question mark on any striker.
The quick one for me would be playing in a team is the patience, and he'd probably have to do a lot less work. He needs to, but when it's his moment, that's his moment. Yeah. So it's a lot less, but more responsibility, if that makes sense, because he's got so many good players around him that'll do all that work. He needs to do his work at the right time in the right spaces, and that's the fine. He knows better than most. That's the time, isn't it?
That's it.
Whereas before, maybe he's had to do a lot more to create his own chances.
You know what
I know
he does
his
as well?
sporting was good, but
you know what he does as well. Like coming from Palace, even going to Arsenal with so many different people making moves, you actually don't have to work as hard, like Michael's saying. But then what George Graham made me work on was finishing and hitting the target. Not necessarily make sure you don't miss that target, because you don't have to do a lot more work. But I want you to hit the target when you get through. That's what he has to do, I think.